Hey, how you guys doing? Packers and Wine here with another GTFO video, and today I have a detailed weapon guide on the machine gun. Now when I go over these detailed guides, I like to break them up into three separate parts. The first part is the description, and this is where we'll take a look at its ammo capacity, its damage, and any of that sort of information. The second part will be the pros and cons of the weapon, and the third part will be me actually using the weapon against the different types of enemies within the game. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, when it comes to describing the weapon, this machine gun has a specific name, and it's called the Techman Arbalist V machine gun, or the Techman Arbalist 5 machine gun, depending if you use the Roman numeral or the letter. However, most players are just going to refer to it as the machine gun. Now, this gun is considered a special weapon and has a max ammo capacity of 107 rounds, and that 107 does include the magazine. Now, speaking of the magazine, each one can hold up to 25 rounds of ammo. It has medium damage and has a low rate of fire due to it being fully automatic, but I personally think it has a medium fire rate. Lastly, the range is medium, which is nice because you can distance yourself away from the enemies in order to maintain your health. So, let's talk about some of the pros and cons of the machine gun, starting with the pros. Now, number one on the list is that the machine gun has good damage. This gun is pretty good against the majority of the enemies that you may come across in your rundown missions, with the exception of the big strikers and the big shooters, as they can be difficult to take down. The second pro is that this gun has a good amount of ammo in terms of total capacity. It's not a crazy amount of ammo, but it's enough for most rundown missions. And the third pro is that it's fully automatic. And this can be pretty helpful when dealing with the hordes that you'll come across during alarm doors or if you or your team accidentally wakes up a room. Now let's take a look at the cons, and the first con on the list is that the machine gun has a somewhat slow reload time. It's not the worst, but there have been times where I've taken damage when I was in the middle of reloading, which can be a little annoying sometimes. The second con is that this machine gun has a short charge-up time before it fires. And I always thought that it was weird that it has to charge up, mainly because it's the only gun in the game that has to charge up. I wouldn't say it's a huge con, but it can be an unnecessary weakness sometimes. The third and last con is that it has a low magazine capacity. 25 rounds per magazine isn't terrible, but for a machine gun, it's pretty bad, to be honest. Machine guns normally have a lot of rounds in a magazine, such as 50 or 75. I just thought it was an interesting choice to only give this gun a 25 round magazine. And as usual, before I show the machine gun in action, I just want to let you guys know that during this section of the gameplay, you're going to notice that my health isn't decreasing, I'm not flinching when getting injured, as well as having unlimited ammo. And the reason for that is because I'm using mods in order to speed up the process of acquiring the footage that I needed. I highly recommend not using mods when playing this game. It definitely does take away some of the fundamental mechanics that make this game really fun. So if you are going to use mods, just use them in a single player setting like I'm doing in this footage, or if you are playing with a group of friends that are completely okay with it. Alright, let's get on with the testing. Alright, so for the first test I have two different small shooters. Now, for the first guy, I wanted to aim for the head, and then the rest would go to the torso. So it took two shots, one to knock its head off, and the second one to kill it. Now, for this guy, we were only aiming for the torso. So I tried to be as accurate as possible. I think I missed like 1 or 2 shots. So it took about 8 shots to kill him, so I would say somewhere between 6 to 8 shots. And for the next test, I was able to get a big striker. So for this guy in particular, I wanted to shoot for the head, and then everything else would be towards the torso. So it took about 5 shots to the head. I could have been a little bit more accurate, so 3 to 5 shots to the head, I would say. And in order to kill this guy, it took almost an entire clip of ammo. So always keep that in mind that these guys are pretty healthy. And for the next guy, I was able to corner a scout. So for these guys, I wanted to see how many shots to the head it would take, as it's a pretty easy target. And it took about 4 shots to kill the scout, so overall, not too bad. And for the last test here, I was able to get a charger all by himself. So for these guys, I tried to do general shooting towards the head / the torso here, And in order to kill this guy, it took about 8 rounds to kill him, so overall not too bad. These guys are pretty easy. So when it comes to the shadow guys, I chose not to include gameplay of them for 2 reasons. The first reason is because they are invisible, and the only way to show the effectiveness of the gun is by hit markers, and those can be a little difficult to see. But mainly the second reason is because the shadow guys have the exact same health as the regular strikers and the regular shooters, so it should cost the same amount of ammunition to take them down. Alright guys, that's going to be a wrap for this video on the machine gun. I hope this video and my other ones help you guys decide which weapons are right for you and the rundown missions you are playing. So stay tuned for some more of these weapon guides and in-depth videos, and as always, thanks for watching. This is V0.1, and I'll see you in the next one.